And a very good morning. Excuse me for looking away. How rude of me. It is 7 a.m. Monday, August 4th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We have phone lines open for you. 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, a little bit hazy. Highs in the upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. What a beautiful day ahead. Feels like a little touch of fall with the cool, crisp air in play this morning. And if you're headed outside, anticipate a little bit of a warm up today. So even though it's cool right now, don't let that fool you. The 54 up in Sussex, lovely way to start the day, 64 in Long Branch and 66 on LBI, will transition to a much warmer finish later on this afternoon, especially with the wind shift. We start off this morning about 2 degrees warmer than this time yesterday up in the northeastern corner of the state. Still chilly with those dew points nice and low, meaning there is low humidity, feeling quite pleasant. A few clouds last night drifting out to sea, so it'll start off nice and dry and stays that way into this afternoon. Just a little bit of a light breeze with those wind gusts no more than 10 to 18 miles per hour. Looking fantastic through this afternoon as well as tomorrow. Just some extra clouds returning in the picture later in the day tomorrow afternoon. So beautiful sunshine this afternoon, helping us to warm back into the low 90s up in Hackensack and Newark, but a lovely breeze down the shore, 76. That's your high on LBI. What a perfect beach day. Very similar to yesterday, even by Cape May and Atlantic City. Again, you go inland, you're back in the low 90s, so it'll feel much warmer without the influence of that cooler sea breeze. Now, tomorrow starts off with some extra clouds. You see them work in from the south and west, and while some areas may get back up into the upper 80s and low 90s, it'll feel much warmer by the end of the day. Humidity starts to creep back in. That's in advance of some rain for Wednesday. So weather kind of going downhill day by day as we get into Wednesday afternoon. A little bit of wet weather moving in through midweek, but that should clear out just in time for Thursday into Friday, especially with the longer range showing that most of that rain ends by Wednesday night, clearing by the day on Thursday, helping temperatures to rebound back into the low 80s. And then just in time for the upcoming weekend, we clear out once more. So beautiful weekend shaping up ahead as we deal with a hot day today, a little bit cooler with those clouds tomorrow, and then by Thursday, seeing the clouds ultimately clear with a high of 82, quite average for by then approaching the second week of August. We'll tell you more about it coming up with a full check of your weekend weather, Ken. That's in a few minutes.
All right. Hey, Mike, did you feel the earthquake over the weekend?
I did not feel it, but I heard our channel director, Lisa Marie Falbo, she did, and she's over in Morris County. So, some people felt it, others not. But the low magnitude earthquakes, my brother-in-law heard it up in Bergen County. They're about 10 minutes from the epicenter, but just heard it, didn't even feel it. Just sounds like a truck going by.
Yeah, and the few people that I know who said they did sense it all had the same comment. They said they heard a bang and felt like almost like a truck hit a bump outside. It was one
Yeah,
big,
right.
a
Hmm.
couple of little rumbles, which was kind of funny. But I love funny. I guess it's not funny in the moment. It's funny in retrospect. But just reading about the fact that we have a lot of little micro faults throughout the state of New Jersey, but we don't lie on a tectonic plate, so that yeah, we'll get earthquakes, but we're not. Highly unlikely we'll get a 5 or a 6 or a 7 anytime soon, or at least a 6 or 7. I think we have had a 5 in the past, but a 6 or a 7, anything that causes widespread destruction is not too likely, right? So we're
Right.
good in that. We're not California, is the point, thankfully, for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, thank you very much, sir. We'll check back with you. We have a temperature 59 degrees fresh in Trenton, New Jersey at 7:04. Terms of traffic, look at what we have here already. This is I-78 eastbound at exit 29 by 287 by the overpass there in Bedminster Township. The left lane of the 3 lanes there closed, but this is why. There is a vehicle there that you can see that's off to the side. This was an earlier crash that's now on the shoulder, and that's causing that left lane to be closed. We have an overturned tractor trailer on the Turnpike Western Spur northbound north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark, and the right lane and shoulder are closed as a result. We have a silver alert on Route 9 in both directions in the area of Sunrise Boulevard in Lacey Township. All lanes, of course, are open, but they're saying there may be a disoriented person who is missing. New Jersey State Police are asking for your help. This is what we do, folks. You know what? We help each other out. So please, I know we're all rushing to get to work and whatever at this early hour, but look for a 71-year-old female who is diabetic, insulin dependent, diagnosed with Alzheimer's, last seen in Forked River wearing a black puffy North Face jacket. This is, I mean, granted, it's 59 degrees, but a lot of elderly don't feel warm temperatures. So if you see a woman 71 years old kind of wandering, call authorities. If you happen to be walking about, kind of try to see if the person's okay. Is there anything I can do for you? But otherwise, call authorities and we'll get them some help. Also, at the GWB, we have a disabled vehicle on the GWB, upper level eastbound, mid-span in Fort Lee. The right lane is now blocked. So if you take a look at the upper and lower level approaches to the GWB right now, doesn't look like much, but this was just reported literally in the last 5 minutes. So it will start to build back to where you see cars not present right now. So those cars coming toward you, the upper level is on the right, and we now have that disabled vehicle. So expect where that truck is right now. In about 10 to 15 minutes, our next report, you will see there will be a backup right there. I'm calling it right now. 7:06 is our time. We just talked about it a moment ago with Mike. Did you feel the earth move under your feet? Did you feel the skies tumbling down? You have to be of a certain age to know the song I'm quoting. Of course, there was an earthquake in Bergen County that shook parts of the Garden State Saturday night. It was the second time in less than 2 weeks that an earthquake struck northern New Jersey. The quake registered a magnitude 3.0. It was recorded at 10:18 p.m., centered in Hasbrook Heights. That's Bergen County. Officials say that it was felt up to 65 miles away, though a 3.0 is really nothing compared to some of the quakes felt in California and parts of Asia, just like the one we reported on last week in Russia that they were worried about a potential major tsunami. It was just a minor one, fortunately. But the rumbling was felt by many throughout the region. No damage reported, but aftershocks could still occur even today or tomorrow. This latest quake comes on the heels of a series of small quakes centered around Morris Plains, July 21st and 22nd. A minke whale has died following a collision with a small boat in Barnegat Bay on Saturday. Dramatic social media video capturing the moment the 20-foot whale struck the motorboat, nearly capsizing it and throwing a person overboard. The whale was later found dead on a sandbar. Marine authorities, limited by tidal conditions, could not closely inspect the animal, but they didn't see any obvious marks. An necropsy is scheduled for today to determine the exact cause of death, to see if the whale was sick, and that's the reason why it went into the boat. 7:08, actor Gary Busey pleaded guilty to one count of fourth-degree criminal sexual contact tied to a 2022 groping incident at a Monster Mania convention in Cherry Hill. Several women reported inappropriate touching during photo shoots. Under a plea deal, 3 other charges were dismissed. Busey faces probation and a fine, with sentencing set for September 18th. 7:08 now, a New Jersey scuba diver, Joseph Masrani of New Millstone Township, died off of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, state police reported. Masrani suffered a medical emergency while diving 150 miles east of Cape Cod, deep, deep waters there. Despite his crew's efforts to revive him, he could not be saved. His body was taken to Fleet Marina in New Bedford. The medical examiner is investigating. A New Jersey man has been missing for over a week at the Grand Canyon. 35-year-old Thomas Daniel Gibbs of Freehold was last heard from July 22nd. His Tesla Cybertruck was found July 28th at Grandview Point. Gibbs, described as 6'1" with brown hair and eyes, may have been hiking the Grandview Trail. Park rangers using drones and search dogs are scouring the area. 7:09, Pope Leo XIV yesterday told more than 1 million Catholic youths at a closing mass for a week-long encounter with the next generation of faithful that they are, quote, the sign that a different world is possible, where conflicts can be resolved with dialogue, not weapons. In his closing blessing for the Jubilee of Youth, Leo remembered the young people living in countries currently at war who could not join their celebration. The young people camped out in sprawling fields southeast of Rome overnight after attending a vigil service on Saturday, also presided over by Leo. For those of you who may have seen this, and I had the privilege of just scouring YouTube on Saturday, and I saw this and just stopped on it. At first, I thought it was an old video, and then I realized, no, this is current, this is live. To see 1.25 million people of any sort anywhere is amazing. To see 1.25 million young people who are taken over by the Holy Spirit, who are on their knees praying to God, who flew in, and for many of them, the money to fly in to Rome from many countries is very prohibitive. So you're not talking about wealthy people by any stretch in many cases. Granted, maybe some kids in the United States can save up and afford it. There are many kids who came from third world countries who probably, it was half their life savings to get there, but they did. And these were good, committed, religious kids. And it was a warm feeling, if you are any religion, especially if you are a Christian, though, to see 1.25 million young people stop what they're doing during their summer and not be selfish and come to pray together and sing hymns. I don't know if you're religious or not. And if you're not, it's okay. They're doing something good together. How about that? It was a very heartwarming thing. And it was, by the way, I was happy to see that some mainstream media actually carried this. I guess they couldn't ignore 1.25 million people, though I'm sure many in the mainstream media would have liked to, because they don't like anything that draws attention to religion, especially Christianity. The special Jubilee celebration, by the way, is part of a holy year that is expected to draw a total of 32 million people to the Vatican for the centuries-old pilgrimage to the seat of Catholicism. The next such gathering is scheduled for August 3rd, 2027, and that will be held in South Korea. Asia, one of the biggest growing areas for Christianity on the planet. I don't want to mess up my statistic, but I believe the number of Catholics in China outweighs the number of Catholics in many other countries on the planet right now. And it is officially outlawed. But yet there's a government Catholic church and there's an underground secret Catholic church where many people attend because they don't like the idea of the government involvement. But either way, there are millions and millions and millions of Chinese now attending. The Catholic Church is now one of the biggest religions in China because technically religion is not endorsed by the communist state. It is 7:12 right now. World Atlas highlights Mattawan as one of the state's so-called playfully peculiar towns, boasting Cheesequake State Park's diverse ecosystems and the Burroughs Mansion Museum. But the wheel draw, a shark mural at Mattawan Creek, marking that 1916 number of attacks that inspired Jaws. I don't know if you know the story. It's a creek. There are not supposed to be sharks in a creek. It's a brackish creek too, but the shark apparently made its way in from the ocean into the mix of fresh and salt water and attacked people in a creek where people didn't even know that little fish existed, let alone sharks. It was not, I mean, I'm making a little light of it now, but yeah, that was, Google it. It's a fascinating story. From Martian monuments in West Windsor to Lucy the elephant in Margate, New Jersey's oddball attractions promise unique adventures for curious travelers. And the Senate over the weekend approved the nomination of Jeanine Pirro, an ardent loyalist of President Trump and a Fox News fixture, confirming the cable news personality to a top prosecutor post in Washington, D.C. Pirro is a former Westchester County prosecutor and elected judge and was confirmed in a 50 to 45 vote. She's been in the job as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia on an acting basis since May. It wasn't known if she would take it permanently, but now she has, and the Senate confirmed it. Before then, of course, she was very famous as the lady on the left, co-hosting Five on Fox News weekday evenings at 5 p.m. Sad news from Hollywood. Actress Lonnie Anderson, best known for her role in the 1970s and 80s TV sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati, has died at the age of 79. Beautiful, beautiful woman, great actress. Anderson, who played receptionist Jennifer Marlowe on the CBS sitcom about the staff of an AM radio station in Ohio. And if you haven't seen it, go online, see if you could find the old episodes. It is hilarious, especially being a person in broadcasting, because every one of the characters in that show, I knew the real life equivalent. So I would laugh my backside off watching WKRP in Cincinnati. So she died at a Los Angeles hospital yesterday following an acute prolonged illness. They didn't identify what that illness was. She was surrounded by her family, who wrote in a statement, quote, "We're heartbroken to announce the passing of our dear wife, mother, and grandmother." Anderson earned 2 Primetime Emmy nominations and 3 Golden Globe nods. 7:14 right now. We have 59 brisk degrees. When we come back, New Jersey politics like no one else can talk about it. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the inside edge. Sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings, stream daily at Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X, and now stream live on Rumble and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJ. We'll be right back. I always think of a Martian landscape when I hear that rejoinder, Pam. I don't know. Pam is our director. What do you think? We'll call that the Martian landscape rejoinder. I like that. Sort of zenny. 7:16 right now. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. 59 degrees. It is Monday, 7:16. As I mentioned, the latest from politics from Trenton in just a little bit with the inside edge. First, though, sunshine today, a little hazy. Highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, is 59 unusual for this time of the summer, August, early August?
No, especially not toward the end of August. So maybe we're running about 2 weeks ahead of schedule, right? But to have an outlier one morning to be a little cooler in northern New Jersey, I think it'll feel quite similar to what we'd expect in the mid to late part of August because, we start losing a lot of daylight now, getting into fall, which is only about 6 weeks away when you think about it. Even meteorological fall begins in just over 3 weeks. So yeah, given the fact that we're approaching the end of summer, every once in a while you get a cool morning and we'll take it. Even when highs rebound into the low 80s this afternoon out by the shore. So plenty of beautiful weather to enjoy. Even 90 up in New Brunswick inland, I think west of the turnpike, certainly. You'll have highs that will feel much more reminiscent of August. So a cool morning followed by a warm afternoon. Even the heat index nil at the moment, where it feels very pleasant. And it will feel nice all throughout the day. A large blob out in the Atlantic. He'll talk more about that. That was Tropical Storm Dexter, which is still technically a tropical storm as it's working out to sea and giving some big wave heights there toward the shore points today. So keep it tuned for any beach plans. If you're headed out today or tomorrow, certainly you'll have some pretty large waves down toward the shore, and that's already reflected in the higher risk of rip currents. UV index up at an 8, which is very high on the scale. I think we're done seeing 9s for the rest of the summer. So it's 8 from here on out. And then I think going into, again, the end of summer, we'll start to see that drop into the 7s. As far as dew points, they're dropping too, down into the 50s throughout this afternoon, feeling quite pleasant. Obviously a little touch more humid with that sea breeze down by the water, but even tomorrow morning, starting off in the 50s yet again, which is very comfortable, very dry, lasting throughout the day. And then you see that shade of green start to work its way back up with those higher dew points or the temperature where the air is saturated in the 60s. That'll make it feel more humid by the end of the day tomorrow. Fast forward a few days after the sun returns on Thursday into Friday, we have a beautiful start to the weekend with clear sky all day long statewide on Saturday. But then by Sunday, I think we see the remnants of some rain come in, and that'll give us some spotty showers by the end of the weekend. So it's probably not all clear and all dry throughout the start of the weekend, but at least for now, we'll keep it dry. 89 is the high on Sunday. It'll be sunny and less humid with the chance of some rain returning by Sunday. But I'm not too confident that it'll happen just yet. So we'll try and massage that forecast, Ken, and see if we can get another gorgeous weekend because, this past weekend was A+. Beautiful here in New Jersey. Couldn't ask for better.
I like you point out here in New Jersey. I happen to be in the Southern Command right now. I'm in South Florida for a few days. I'll be back up Thursday. But I didn't set up the beach cam, but we have, puffy fair weather clouds. I'm looking out of a crack by the blinds. Puffy fair weather clouds right now, but we'll try to get the beach cam up in a little bit to let you all see it. But nonetheless, I had yeah, I had 94 degrees and high humidity this weekend here. It was a little
Oh
oppressive.
boy.
I was
Yeah.
longing to get back to New Jersey, so just to say. All right, Mike, we'll check back with you. Thank you, sir. In the meantime, right now, it's a very refreshing 59 degrees in Trenton. So if you step outside, you'll feel the nice, comfortable temperatures. We do have an incident to talk about. We pointed this out a little while ago. It's I-78 eastbound by exit 29, the I-287 overpass in Bedminster Township. The left lane is closed. They left the vehicle alone. So I guess they're waiting for a tow to come, and there's one police officer just making sure the person's safe. They'll just try to tow that vehicle. But just note that the right now on I-78 eastbound at exit 29, that left lane is closed. As traffic builds up during the morning, that might become an issue. Hopefully the car will be safely towed by then. We also want to report we have a couple of issues. Wow, a couple of things happening. We have an overturned tractor trailer on 1 and 9 truck route northbound on the turnpike in Newark with the right shoulder closed. Then we have an overturned tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound north of interchange 15 EPAM. This is that mixing bowl shot we could show you. So the both of those extreme lanes and the extreme left and extreme right rejoin up ahead near 78. And so this is let's see what we have here. So it says here is an overturned tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound north of interchange 15E 1 and 9 in Newark. So you see up ahead toward the right, that is 1 and 9 Pulaski Skyway. So these folks, as you go into that zone where that accident is, you can see traffic building right now, and that's what we have right now. We also want to let you know about a silver alert on Route 9, both directions, Sunrise Boulevard in Lacey Township. All lanes are open, but there's a disoriented person they're reporting, a 71-year-old woman wearing a black puffy jacket. If you see this person, call police immediately. Keep an eye on the person if you can. This is an elderly person with Alzheimer's, and we just want to help our neighbors out. All right, so if you're in the area of Lacey Township, silver alert, Route 9, Sunrise Boulevard, a 71-year-old person with Alzheimer's. Keep an eye. Please call police if you see that individual. We also want to let you know about the approach of the GWB upper and lower levels right now. We do have an issue on the crossover point of the upper level of the bridge. I was betting that you would see traffic building up by the right side, the upper level approach by now, and we haven't. So maybe it's because it's Monday, people are taking long weekends, but that's a good thing. 722, there is politics, and there's New Jersey politics. Trenton is a whole different animal for those who know about it. New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein has the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Monday, August 4th. Despite the toxic relationships that exist frequently between two running mates for the state assembly, primaries between the two for a state senate seat have been unusually rare, and that's largely because county chairs settle those matters in advance of filing day. But with the elimination of county lines and reasonably close legislative primaries last June in about a quarter of the state's legislative districts, that means it's more likely that if a senator retires, both assembly members could just go for the seat. And that'll be something to watch in 2027. Here's one story of two assemblymen who ran for an open Senate seat. It starts with Senator Angelo Ericetti. He was also the mayor of Camden. He was indicted in May of '80 for taking bribes connected to Abscam. Ericetti was the guy who introduced Harrison Williams, New Jersey's four-term U.S. senator, to an FBI agent posing as an Arab sheik. And Ericetti's legal woes came 2 years after a bitter Democratic civil war in Camden County, where Congressman Jim Florio, who was getting ready to run for governor, wrestled control of the party apparatus from Ericetti. Florio's team won 4 of the 6 assembly seats and 3 Camden County freeholder seat. But the 2 incumbent assemblymen that were allied with Ericetti in the 5th District, Walter Rand and Ernest Schuck, they won their primaries by about 2,500 votes. Schuck had been Florio's running mate for the assembly in the 5th District, and then Rand won the seat after Florio went to Congress. I mean, make no mistake, Jim Florio and Ernest Schuck did not like each other. And Ericetti waited 10 months to announce that he wasn't seeking re-election, either as senator or as mayor. While most thought he probably wouldn't run, there were some people that weren't completely sure. Rand and Schuck both wanted the Senate seat. Rand had patched things up with Florio. Schuck didn't. And there was a question as to whether the organization would even allow Schuck to keep his assembly seat. The organization backed Rand, but gubernatorial candidates in 1981 didn't run on a line that year. So Schuck decided to take his shot. Now, remember, these guys were sort of friends. They shared a legislative office on Cooper Street. Schuck used to get the most votes, and Rand refused to attack Schuck. Schuck didn't go after Rand either, but he beat up on Florio. He said he refused to sell his soul by kissing Florio's ring. He backed Brendan Burns' choice for governor, John Degnan. Rand won that primary by about 1,500 votes. It was about 8.5 points. Schuck had won a small part of the district that was in Gloucester County, where the county chairman, Kenny Gewirtz, had supported him. He won that by about 700 votes, but Camden delivered Rand a 2,000 vote margin. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow.
Very good, David. Thank you, sir. 726. The Trump administration has released $158 million in education funds after a lawsuit led by New Jersey and 24 other states. The funds, part of a $6 billion national release, support English language programs, teacher development, and after-school initiatives. New Jersey officials, including Governor Murphy and Attorney General Matt Platkin, I like to call him the communist, just a personal play, criticized the delay, calling it illegal and harmful to students. Of course, having 650,000 illegals in the state, and we don't know if they're here criminally, we don't know if they have weapons, we don't know if they're here to blow us up. They could be the nicest people in the world. That's not a threat to safety in the eyes of the liberal Democrat. No, that's perfectly fine. They're all saints from heaven. They're angels dropped on earth to help us. But withholding money until we're sure that it's properly spent and allocated by the federal government, bringing it to the state, that's dangerous. That's the mind of a sick leftist freak Democrat, just saying. Platkin, who is repeatedly challenged the administration in court because he's a pain in the you-know-what, hailed the release as a victory for New Jersey schools. I will hail the day when Platkin finds something else to do for a living, like making hot dogs on the side of a road. Till then, we're stuck with them. Just remember that the next time you go to vote Democrat, okay? Speaking of which, at 728, New Jersey added nearly 11,000 voters to its rolls in July, with most registering as unaffiliated, according to state data. I don't understand why people still can't make a decision, but it is what it is. The GOP gained 1,651 voters. Democrats lost 2,401 voters. So we keep going in that direction. Democrats in New Jersey keep leaving to go independent or Republican, and Republicans keep gaining. That's a good sign. Bergen County led with 2,396 new registrants. The shift narrows the Democratic lead over Republicans to still a lot, 869,000, reversing June's trend, where for 1 month it ticked the other way by a few, but now it's coming back. Key competitive districts, including the 7th Congressional, saw significant unaffiliated voter spikes, making it more important than ever for people running for like the governorship in New Jersey to go after those independent voters. 729, President Trump preparing shock and awe sanctions on Russian exports. Senator Jim Risch, the chairman of the powerful Senate Foreign Relations Committee, said that Trump would make good on his pledge to impose crippling economic penalties on Moscow's trading partners by August 8th. The president shortened his deadline for hitting Russia with the most severe sanctions on its oil exports to date, giving Vladimir Putin 10 days to reach a deal to end the war in Ukraine. The sanctions were slated to slap 100% tariffs on buyers of Russian oil, with the biggest customers being India and China. In other words, go ahead, India and China. You want to continue buying oil from Russia? You do so, but now everything that we import in the United States, you're going to have to pay a 100% tariff on. In other words, your items are going to cost so much to be imported to the U.S., nobody will buy them. It is 729. The water was, you'll see why I did that, as about 24 dogs hung 10 at the annual World Dog Surfing Championships in Pacifica, California, just south of San Fran. The event was held on Saturday to a beach packed with onlookers and doggies alike, all on their best behavior and with little doggy bags. Pooches competed against similarly sized peers for a chance to appear in the finals. Additional heats featured multiple dogs surfing tandem or riding with people. Isa, a 5-year-old French bulldog, won the single surfer heat for medium-sized dogs for the first time this year. Contest winners received medals, barking rights, and a little treat and scratch behind the ears. Good dog, good dog. It's crazy. I don't know why dogs do love the water like that. I had Pomeranians. I used to go to the beach. They would run to, it would freak us out, but they would run to, they just love running to the water. They love, something magical about it for them. They just do love it. That's so fun looking. People saying, well, how could you do that to your dogs? They love it. It's fun for them, believe me. And they're better surfers. They're very good at balancing themselves. They're very good surfers. It's just like natural for them. Love it. 7:31 right now. We still have 59 very fresh degrees in Trenton. When we come back, Eric, the travel guy Hastings, takes us on a getaway to Jamaica. Sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s, the full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Very good morning to you. 7:31, Monday, August 4th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are open at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, a little hazy. Highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. And Mike, that's quite a rise, right? From the upper 50s to the upper 80s in just a few hours. So does that mean that you please explain for us, is that a change of air masses or what? What's going on with that?
It's actually just solar insolation in a less humid and drier air mass. So we typically get this in the fall, right? So in the fall, you have the drier weather, which without the humidity tends to delay the heating of the day, providing that latent heat. So with the very dry air, there's not much, as you say, stuff in the atmosphere to delay the heating of the day. There's less water vapor to slow down the progression of the warming. So we get pretty warm today, but that's just another indication of how comfortable their weather will feel. Nice and dry, less humid today, lots of sunshine. It'll feel fantastic, just like yesterday did. Another sunny afternoon here across New Jersey with clouds on the way for tomorrow, and then the rain should arrive by Wednesday morning, and even that clears out quickly. Definitely by the weekend, I think we'll be back to sunshine as soon as Thursday afternoon or even through Friday. Satellite picture right now is very clear, very dry, with the pleasant amount of humidity in the air. It'll look nice down toward the shore points. Highs in the low to mid 80s along the shore and even west of the parkway, only into the mid 80s today, which is quite average for this time of year. The air quality back down to that unhealthy level, especially with that little bit of a breeze along the waterfront. There are still some smoke particles in the air from all of those wildfires over Canada, and you see them dotted here in the northwestern corner, and all of that smoke is drifting eastward, some of it entering the northeast. And even the high resolution smoke zooming on into New Jersey shows a little bit of that smoke entering Sussex County later on today into tonight, but ultimately clearing out. So great day for the beaches today as we head down the shore. High record is 100. We're nowhere near that today, so we stay quite comfortable with all the clouds offshore. Speaking of the tides, high temperatures climb into the mid and upper 70s. That's water temperatures, with the high tide happening later on this afternoon, anywhere between 4 and 6 p.m. there at the beaches. So great weather to enjoy, a beautiful beach day. Again, UV index right up there at a very high, but it's this rip current risk that is back to the moderate stage, and that's due to Dexter, just a couple hundred miles offshore, providing that little bit of a threat for the bigger waves. No rain going into today. We're nice and dry as temperatures climb into the low 90s in the northeastern corner of the state, low to mid 80s at the beaches. A really pretty beach day with those winds off of the water. Then the wind switch direction to blow in from the south and west tomorrow, and that's what brings in some of those extra clouds, promotes a more humid feel to the day. Highs still manage to make it up to about 90. I think we're dry for tomorrow, but the rain comes back by Wednesday. We get a few passing showers, then that will clear out by Thursday for a nice finish to the week. There's Dexter. It's not too far away, even though it's a wide map. You can see it there spinning out to sea, and it's doing so pretty slowly. You see by Tuesday, tomorrow morning into Wednesday, hasn't moved very much. So that will allow for the waves to start to get bigger over the next few days. So if you're heading down toward the shore, take note, stay in the lifeguarded zones because the rip currents may go to the high risk as soon as tomorrow and last that way through the rest of the week. We'll talk more about that with the beach forecast coming up in just a bit in your tropical update. As far as the rest of the week, after the beautiful weather today, it turns a little cloudy tomorrow, chance of some showers by Wednesday, clearing on Thursday, and then a gorgeous weekend ahead. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all sunshine all around. Specifically the start of the weekend. I think Sunday could have some extra clouds that return by the end of the weekend. And then down the shore, lovely. 70s at night, low 80s in the afternoon. Dry all around, nothing more than a few extra clouds at times, but a very pretty forecast, Ken, to start off the first full week of August. Looks to stay beautiful right through this weekend.
I just can't believe we're into August already. It's crazy. So I am looking, by the way, we're going to get that beach cam up in a second. I just raised the blinds. And we always talk about this when I'm down in Florida and you're up there. You're always up there and I'm not always down here. But we have to change that. Let's bring the whole show here. That would be fun. But the sunrise is not, the sunrise is often later here because of the curvature of the earth. And everyone thinks that Florida is straight down the East Coast. It's actually, I guess, the angle of the earth, right? That Florida is, I guess, it's a little west of New York as it goes.
Yeah, so you're going to have a later sunrise, correct? Yep.
So it was still relatively dark when I started the show here, and I know it's not dark when I start the show in New York or New Jersey. So anyway, thought that was fascinating. I'm still fascinated by stuff like that. I'm like a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old, as the case may be. Thank you, Mike. We will check back, sir. It is a still comfortable 59 degrees in New Jersey and Trenton right now. We do have, look at this close-up of this accident, or it's a disabled vehicle. I don't want to say an accident. So we're being told it's a disabled vehicle. It's a van on the Garden State Parkway southbound by the Toms River Toll Plaza in Dover. Right lane and shoulder are blocked, but look at how clear the camera shot is. This is a wonderful camera they're using, probably what they call a PTZ cam. But that camera is amazing. I'm sorry to geek out on you, but considering that camera is probably 150 feet up on a pole, zoomed in tight, that's a pretty darn good shot. Anyway, I hope the folks in that vehicle are okay and they get that moving along fine, but just letting you know about it. We also have a little bit of traffic building up now into the Lincoln and Holland tunnels, about 15 minutes. That's really not that bad. GWB, not bad either. There was a disabled vehicle on the upper level headed to eastbound into Manhattan, and it's been taken care of already before it could cause major delays. So look at this. I mean, for gosh sakes, even if you don't need to go into Manhattan, you can almost just do it for fun because you can get in like 5-10 minutes. The GWB upper and lower level approaches, 738, moving beautifully. It is 7:38. It is just 3.5 hours away by plane and has everything to offer from awesome beaches to wonderful food and sensational people. We are talking Jamaica. I recently spoke with Eric the Travel Guy Hastings from ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K, about the Caribbean land with the Olympic bobsled team. Thinking about getting away, wanting to do a little travel? Well, joining me right now is Eric the Travel Guy Hastings, my good friend. He has a website, ericthetravelguy.com. That's Eric with a K. Don't misspell it. He also is the host of the series Beyond Your Backyard, which used to be on PBS, and you could find it on YouTube now. Wonderful videos. By the way, you should do that for a living. You're really good at it. And he also runs a wonderful dinner theater for murder mystery fans down in Orlando, Florida right now. Eric, the Travel Guy Hastings, thanks for being on this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Always excellent to be here.
Well, it is great to have you. We should talk about travel deals and when to travel. And specifically, we want to mention Jamaica today. So let's first talk about the best way to travel, the best way to make your plans, because a lot of people, they talk with their friends and they say, gee, such and such just went to Jamaica. Maybe we'll just get the best plan we could find online, but maybe you should do a little research first. So talk about if you were to make plans, say, to go to Jamaica.
If you're going to make plans to go to Jamaica, one of the first things I say, I think that's a great suggestion, by the way. I really do. Jamaica and I, we are friends. I love the Sandals people. I love the beaches people. I love all those resorts down there. I love the locals. The locals care and understand how important tourism is to the economy. And so Jamaica is a great suggestion. But the number one question I would always ask is, where do you want to go? What do you want to feel on your next vacation? Because the reality of it is, we're not all the same, of course. A lot of people love to bring a book or two, bring a couple of magazines, what are those, and bring their sunglasses and sit on a beach for a week. Now, that to me sounds like torture. I would die within like a day. I would be bored out of my mind. But that's same place, right? Same Jamaica, different way to experience it. So I think that's a real conversation I'd like you to have with your whomever you're traveling with. Say, what do we want to do here? Do we want to explore? Do we want to do ATVing? Is it really just sun and surf? And so if Jamaica ticks those boxes, great. But maybe Curacao does, or maybe Dominica does, or maybe Puerto Rico does. You never know if you're talking Caribbean in that region. But Jamaica is always a good suggestion. I call it one of the starter Caribbean places to go because the tourism infrastructure is alive and well in Jamaica.
Yeah, and there's, like you said, there's so much to do. Just like you mentioned Curacao. I mean, I've been to Aruba, and Aruba's great if you just want beach, but there's really not that much more to do. And on the 1 or 2 days a year that there's rain, you're really in the hotel. There's nothing. That's it. There's like, what is it, 30 hotels on the island. It's a little island. You have the DV trees and some nice little restaurants. If you go to Aruba on a regular basis, you've eaten at all the restaurants at some point. I mean, they
It's
do
very
exhaust
true.
themselves. But Jamaica is
It's
the
true.
second most populous island in the Caribbean outside of Cuba, and there's
Yeah.
tons to do. It has a big infrastructure. If you go to Kingston, I mean, there's a lot of crime in Kingston, but there's a lot of great spots too. If you wanted to do the big city thing, there are places to go, and it's kind of cool to enjoy the culture.
Yeah, it really is. And again, if you look, the State Department is always going to be issuing warnings, travel warnings to pay attention. But again, I would remind you, you should always be paying attention when you're traveling, especially when you're traveling outside of your home country. Remember, we've talked about this before. The laws of the place that you are, those are the governing laws. And so, you do need to pay attention to things. What are the local cultures, and do your best to respect the local cultures, or same thing with the language. I mean, look, Jamaica, there's plenty of English spoken down there, but the reality of it is there's lots of places where English is a second language. And if you can learn a few phrases, but yes, you have got a lot of options in Jamaica. And one of the things, Montego Bay is one of the best places, has the best air service, or some of the best air service in the Caribbean from major gateways, certainly here in the Northeast. So you're going to have no problem getting there. And I think that's something that's also very important to consider.
Yeah, and Montego Bay's nickname is Mo Bay. That's the place where I vacationed. Mo Bay is a great location because, first off, from a beach perspective, you have the old, what used to be known as the Ritz-Carlton Rose Hall, right? I don't know what it's called today, but it's
Mhm.
just one of the most regal properties. And remember, for those who don't know, the Jamaica was part of Great Britain, so there's still the high-end British high tea. You can go to hotels and still have high tea, and they dress impeccably. And it's just a beautiful place. And the people are so cool. When I got to Mo Bay and I got out of the airport, I was greeted by a taxi driver with a sign who stopped me very politely. He stopped me and he said, "Sir, you are the person whom the government of Jamaica has officially assigned to me to you. So I am officially your taxi driver. Nice to meet you," and handed us his card. And I thought that was I mean, I'm sure he does it with everyone, but it was such a
Of
clever
course.
way to approach it. And he said, "So
Yeah.
I am at your beck and call while you are here in Jamaica." And I looked at my husband. I said, "What the hell?" And we got in his cab. He could have been an axe murderer for all I know. He was the nicest guy. He said, "What kind of Jamaica do you want to experience?" And I said, "First of all, I'm a foodie. I want to eat where you eat." And he stopped the cab and he looked, he turned around. He said, "Are you sure?" And I said,
Sure about
"I
that.
want to go where you go. I want to go to chow down where you chow down." He picked us up. He says, "All right, go and enjoy the beach today. Get ready at the hotel. I'll come by and get you at about 6 o'clock and I'll take you to my friend's restaurant." Now, talk about down a dirt road, make a left turn. I thought we were being kidnapped. I figured we're not coming
Yeah,
back. He
yeah,
took us to
that's
this
right.
hole in the wall, and I paid for dinner for the three of us. It was him, Chris, and me, my husband. I paid for dinner. We had like 5 courses. I think it was $20 for the three of us. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
was spicy as hell. I will say this because I asked for it, but it was
yeah.
the best food I ever had. It was real, authentic Jamaican down home, and the people treated us like just gold. And he introduced us to everyone. Everybody was a cousin of his. Everybody was a cousin of his. We had the best time. And then he got us home and he says, don't do the beach tomorrow. It's supposed to rain early in the morning. I'll pick you up and I'll take you to the museum. And that. So he had our whole itinerary mapped out. We had the best vacation.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just have
that's
to let go.
yeah, sometimes you do. Obviously, you need to be safe, of course. You need to be vigilant. You need to pay attention to your surroundings. You need to not be wearing expensive, flashy jewelry, which I know you don't when you travel, Ken. But I
Yeah.
mean, the fact of the matter is, if you ask some very basic questions of the locals, they'll tell you, oh, and they don't want anything to happen to you. They're not going to send you to a place that's not safe. Listen, there's unsafe neighborhoods in every town in the world. Just don't
Mhm.
go to them. There, it's as simple as that. They don't usually bother you. You don't need to bother them. We're good. Let it go. Let there be separation. I think one of the things that I learned on my last trip, we've done 2 episodes there. We just did one in the day in the life of a all-inclusive resort general manager. It was so interesting in Montego Bay at the original Sandals property, because when you talk Jamaica, you can't. I mean, you got Club Med, but Butch was legendary down there. I mean, the original, the first swim up pool bar in the world
Mhm.
was at that property at Sandals. I mean, stuff like that. They were the first all inclusive to put hair dryers in the room. It was a big deal back in the 1980s, etc. But doing that episode and learning about why the locals are employed and how long they stay at these resorts for 25, 30, 35 years is really remarkable.
Yeah, it's so cool. And by the way, an ounce of kindness goes a long way. Showing somebody respect. If you're lost down a street and you just say, "Excuse me, can you help me to get blah blah blah?" They'll take you there. I mean, but don't be, too many Americans are very condescending and assume that the whole world owes them something. Don't do that. Just be that nice to somebody. You'll get 10 times the niceness back. It's just a wonderful culture with wonderful people, and they know, like specifically in Montego Bay, their culture is based on tourism, so they're gonna roll out the red carpet for you and make you feel very welcome.
Well, and
It's a
what a
fun
what a
place.
great vacation too, Ken. I mean, look, if you fly into Montego Bay, which I always forget which part of the island it's on, it's not that important
Right.
for our discussion, but it's on I think it's the north. Anyway, you fly
Yes.
into Montego Bay, you go all the way to Negril, and you'll see a different Jamaica in Negril. And people who right now are listening to this who are Negril people, they're like, oh, yeah, Negril's not like Mobay. It's not like Falmouth. It's not like so. People who love to go over there and they go to gyms and they see the people jumping off the cliffs and it's just and the sunset's amazing, etc. Again, these are the type, because here's the thing, here's the secret about travel, right? The whole reason I do this whole gig and have for the better part of 3 decades is because you just don't know which one of those vacations is going to change your life forever for the better.
Mhm.
Not to say it was bad going in, but you just don't know. So you got to go out there and try it. And lo and behold, you'll find something that speaks to you and it'll change your life.
Yeah, and Jamaica, by the way, you can go from the inexpensive to the expensive, but don't expect you're going to get high-end luxury if that's what you're looking for at one of the cheaper motels. They have, just like here, they have more services at the expensive places, fewer services at the little places. But if you're looking for just a beach and a pina colada, you can go at a low end, and that's okay. If you want a little bit more than that, you're going to impress a girlfriend or boyfriend, spend and go for something more. But you have everything on an island like Jamaica. It's a great place. Eric, the travel guy Hastings, that's ericthetravelguy.com, Eric with a K, and his YouTube videos, of course. which are beyond your backyard. You could still see them. They were on PBS years ago, and now, of course, they're on YouTube. You could see them. They're great. Check it out. Eric, you did such a good job on those videos. I love checking them out. It makes me feel like I'm on vacay when I see them. Eric, the travel guy, Hastings, thanks as always for being with us today.
Thank you, sir.
What a joy. It was so fun. We taped that last week, and Eric has so many great videos on YouTube for his Beyond Your Backyard series. Check them out, definitely. It is currently 59 very fresh degrees in New Jersey, and I need to get my buddy Mike Favetta, our meteorologist in chief, on screen when he can, because I want to show him. We were able to get up the very important Fort Lauderdale beach cam, which our director Pam has. So maybe Pam could point. There you go. That's what we're looking at. Sorry, I think it's crooked. That's me. That would be entirely on me. I haphazardly tried to set it up, but you get the idea. This is what we're looking at. Pam, if you can you drop the bug and the lower third? Because that's where we got the beach. Ah, thank you, Pam. So you see the waves actually crashing on the shore right now. That's what you got. Everybody just take a moment of Zen. Okay, thank you, Pam. Mike, good morning. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. It just needed a minute. It's all it takes. I am now
You
recharged.
do,
It's like
yep.
lithium batteries on a 2-hour charge.
That's it. It's the quick charge. It's a quick recharge. Better than a cup of coffee in the morning. Well, maybe not so much, but
Although we got
for some, it is a Monday morning.
Yes, exactly.
I was
Don't go
making
too
the
far.
second espresso.
Salute.
Pardon me for being late. So it takes a lot on a Monday, especially when you've had so much great weather over the weekend. You got recharged with the vitamin D. Gorgeous outside again today with kind of a third day in a row of beautiful weather. Temperatures climbing into the low 90s with that comfortable level of humidity. So yes, it'll be a little bit warmer than this weekend, but still not oppressive as highs climb into the upper 80s inland, north and west there in Sussex, 87 degrees, and a cool start this morning in the 50s. But again, the dry air making it feel much more pleasant through the afternoon. So air quality a little bit lower in northern New Jersey because of some of that Canadian wildfire smoke, better by the coast. But overall, the air quality is still unhealthy for sensitive groups due to that stagnant air yet again, specifically in the central part of the state. As we look down toward the tropics, have a few areas to watch. One, that is the tropical storm Dexter spinning out to sea, and then a few others off the coast of Africa, some in the Pacific. So yes, tropical hurricane season starting to ramp its way up. Even with those winds staying out to sea, it's the storm center. You can see not too far away from the coast of New Jersey as it forms, and then working to the northeast very slowly, taking its time, meandering out into the Pacific, into the northern Atlantic, and driving with it and keeping its tropical characteristics through at least Thursday. So there's certainly enough energy there, and that wave energy will work its way back across New Jersey by the time we get to the middle of this week. So there are the waves, and you can see by Tuesday, some of those waves coming pretty close to New Jersey throughout the end of the week. Yes, we'll see some more waves going into the middle of the week. So that's something to keep in mind if you're headed toward the beaches by tomorrow or Wednesday or even for Thursday. The middle of August is going to be hot. Look at all of this bright red shaping up across the Northeast. So plan on another round of very hot weather about a week and a half from now. We'll start to hear, those alert bells ringing in the weather center that there's a heat wave coming. Yeah, we're not quite done with summer just yet. Even as we head into the middle of August, the average chances of rainfall are also there. So it's going to be pleasant for the rest of this week with a few extra clouds tomorrow, maybe a shower Wednesday, but otherwise dry beginning Thursday, going into Friday with sunshine returning and highs sitting in the low 80s. That's average for the beginning of August. Even the weekend looking very pleasant with temperatures reaching the mid-80s. Shore points, very pleasant, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the low 70s at night, low 80s in the afternoon, quintessential summer. Even heading into this weekend, we have another gorgeous weekend ahead, specifically for Friday and Saturday. Sunday, we got to work on, but I think I can make a phone call. So we'll let you know how that goes, Ken, coming up with another check of your forecast, or maybe a text. I think nature might like
Yeah, a
texts
little
nowadays.
text. I mean, up until last week, Mother Nature was still taking faxes. So I'm glad that she's upgraded it to SMSs.
Right.
That's a good thing.
We'll get
All right.
RCS pretty soon, and then maybe the iPhone ultimately. So yeah, slowly but surely.
She just started the flip phone. Don't push, all right? I shouldn't talk too loudly. I am in like a hurricane zone down here in South Florida right now, so I better watch. All right, Mike, thank you, sir. We appreciate you as always. A beautiful and chilly, you could say chilly, 59 degrees. I like that kind of chilly though. That's fresh. Once you get into the 40s, I start to get nervous. 59 is nice. We do have this, which is not so nice. Take a look at I-78 by 287 South. This is in Netcong, and you could see this. There's obviously some road construction going on right there, or not. That's an emergency vehicle that just pulled up, so maybe that was a crash. Actually, I'm sorry. There's got to be something serious going on because you got a number of state police and an ambulance, so something serious is happening there. But again, that's in Netcong on I-78 at 287 South. Avoid that area like the plague. This has only popped up in the last 15 minutes, and it looks like it's not going anywhere anytime fast. We also have a report of a crash on 287 northbound, north of exit 2178 in Bedminster. We talked about this a little earlier. The left lane is closed. We have a crash on the Turnpike I-95 local lane southbound, north of exit 69, I-80 in Teaneck with the left lane blocked. And we also have an overturned tractor trailer on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound, north of interchange 15E, 1 and 9 in Newark with the right shoulder blocked. And we still have that silver alert on Route 9 in Lacey Township. This is by Sunrise Boulevard. There is an elderly person, a woman actually who's 71. Some people would say, Ken, that's not elderly. Okay, an older woman who's wearing a black puffy jacket. If you see that person wandering, the person has Alzheimer's, don't approach them. Call police. Keep an eye on them for the police. And let's get that person safely back home. It is 7:56. Did you feel the earth move under your feet over the weekend? An earthquake in Bergen County shook parts of the Garden State Saturday night, the second time in less than 2 weeks that an earthquake struck there. The quake or in the region, northern New Jersey, the quake registered a magnitude 3.0. It was recorded 10:18 p.m. centered in Hasbrook Heights. Officials said it was felt up to 65 miles away. Though a 3.0 is nothing compared to some of the quakes felt in California and parts of Asia, the rumbling was felt by many throughout the region. No damage was reported, though aftershocks could still occur. This latest quake comes on the heels of a series of smaller quakes centered around Morris Plains, July 21st and 22nd. 7:57, actor Gary Busey pleaded guilty to one count of fourth-degree criminal sexual contact tied to a 2022 groping incident at the Monster Mania convention in Cherry Hill. Several women reported inappropriate touching during photo shoots. Now, under a plea deal, 3 other charges had been dismissed. Busey faces probation and a fine with sentencing set for September 18th. 7:57, a New Jersey scuba diver, Joseph Masrani of New Millstone Township, died off of Cape Cod. State police reported that. Masrani suffered a medical emergency while diving 150 miles east of Cape Cod. Despite his crew's efforts to revive him, he could not be saved. His body taken to Fleet Marina in New Bedford. The medical examiner is investigating. A New Jersey man missing over a week at the Grand Canyon. 35-year-old Thomas Daniel Gibbs of Freehold last heard from on July 22nd. His Tesla Cybertruck found July 28th at Grandview Point. Gibbs, described as 6'1" with brown hair and eyes, may have been hiking the Grandview Trail. Park rangers using drones and search dogs have been scouring the area. 7:58, the Trump administration has released $158 million in education funds after a lawsuit led by New Jersey and 2 other states. 24 other states, I should say. The funds, part of a $6 billion national release, support English language programs, teacher development, and after-school initiatives. New Jersey officials, including Governor Murphy and Attorney General Matt Platkin, criticized the delay, calling it illegal and harmful to students. Platkin, who has repeatedly challenged the administration in court, hailed the release as a victory for New Jersey's schools. Part of this delay was because much of that money is going to blue states that are sanctuary states, using the money to fund a multilingual education for illegal migrants. And the question then becomes, how long must U.S. citizens fund the extra cost for multilingual teachers for illegal migrants? And if this is going to become part of a bigger national debate, and that has to be, because there are school districts on the verge of bankruptcy, so that we could feed kids from third world countries or kids who are illegal migrants in this country, something that would never occur in any other country on the earth. You go to another country, you don't speak the language, you're SOL. That is it. They hold you back a year. and they teach you their language, but they do not spend money on multilingual teachers for you anywhere else on the planet but the United States. It is now 59 degrees at 7:59. Sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s. The full Garden State forecast when we return. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We will be back in 30. A very good morning to you. It is 8 a.m. Monday, August 4th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are wide open. 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of sunshine today. A little hazy. Highs in the upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Mike, mornings like this, I feel like I'm in my upper 80s, so that's a good thing.
And, it's going to be a pleasant feel, especially when you step outside and enjoy that nice, dry, cool feeling with temperatures already climbing into the upper 60s across most of New Jersey. Newark just hit 70, same for you in LBI and Camden, but everywhere else, a lovely start to the day. Still cool. Up in Sussex at this hour, 57 degrees. That's 2 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. And ultimately, it will warm up by this afternoon, thanks to the dry air that's in place. You see this lovely shade of mustard yellow. That's approaching that dry side of the scale. Certainly not humid as you enjoy the dry weather into today and even tomorrow. The clouds staying offshore today, so we get another day full of sunshine. It'll feel quite pleasant, a little bit of a sea breeze down along the coast, cooling you off by this afternoon, back a few degrees. And then tomorrow starts off with a little bit of a southerly breeze from the south and west. That'll nudge in some more humidity, also help the clouds nose in by the end of the day, and that helps to give us a little bit of a cooler finish, but a muggier finish to the day tomorrow. 92 is our high this afternoon over in Newark, 91 in Hackensack, mid-80s across most of central and southern New Jersey. Very comfortable. And then by tomorrow morning, you see the high clouds start to move their way through. Temperatures ultimately make it back into the upper 80s and low 90s yet again. More humidity, a little bit more of a damp feel down along the coast as some rain takes over for Wednesday morning. And those spotty showers will be around throughout the course of the day, ultimately ending by Wednesday evening. I think Wednesday night could still be a little bit wet, but by Thursday, we start to dry things out, especially in the afternoon, starting off a little bit cool, maybe some clouds hang out through the morning, but ultimately Friday turns much drier and we have a gorgeous weekend shaping up with another less humid and fantastic feel on tap. So warm today, a little hot tomorrow with some clouds, maybe a shower by Wednesday, and then starting the drying trend Thursday into the weekend. Looks very pleasant once more for at least Friday and Saturday. We're working on Sunday. We'll give you those details coming up with your weekend forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Hey, before you go, let's take another shot at beach cam as the sun is slowly making its way over and
Can't wait to
up.
see it.
We're looking.
Ooh.
There we go. I got to straighten that out, but isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? So it's just
beautiful.
coming up. It's just very sleepy. They just combed the beach, but you can see we're having, I'm sure a lot more about this than I would even. Sargassum, those little black
Yes.
seaweed bubbly things that kids
Yep.
pop, they pop that seaweed. So apparently what's been happening in the last 10 years as farmers in northwestern Africa, as they are using more and more fertilizer that we, by the way, have been telling them to use so that they could grow more food, a lot of it washes into the tributaries and then out to the ocean. And guess what? Sargassum is a plant, right? And so all of a sudden it gets hit with fertilizer and the sargassum grows like weeds, because that's what it is. And then billions and billions of tons of sargassum springs up and then washes to the west. So everywhere from the Caribbean up to like the Georgia coast gets hit with, if you could see that brownish black line along the shoreline, that's nothing. Apparently 2 weeks ago, we had 15 feet of it here that washed up.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was massive. And then what happens is it sits there and kind of rots on the beach and you get sand fleas. It's kind of gross. but they come and scoop up as much as they can. But it's expensive for the local municipalities, and it's kind of stinky
Sure.
and gross, and you don't want to walk through it to get into the water. Once you're in the water, it's okay, but you don't want to like step over slimy seaweed to get
Mhm.
there. So I thought I would give our little science lesson for the day, and that's what's happening. And it's happening all up and down the coast, literally from the Caribbean and northern South America, all the way up to Georgia and like South Carolina.
There's
It is
video
what it
that
is.
my friend shared from Puerto Rico of it overtaking an entire bay. The whole bay was just
Oh my
covered
God,
in it, and you could almost look like you could walk on it. It was so thick. So yeah, it's
crazy.
definitely invasive, not just to quality of life, but to the aquatic life as well.
Yeah, that's true. Fish can choke on it. It could choke out oxygen. And you know, what is the solution? You can't tell farmers in a developing country or developing countries like Northwestern Africa, where for generations they had not enough food to eat. They're finally starting to generate, right, farms and get enough food. The problem is we've had that problem here in the United States. It's not that it only exists there, but it's just happening there right now. The problem is all of that waste, those waste chemicals are going into the tributaries. Problem is also a lot of people drink that water, and that's where they got to watch out. So hopefully that does not bring health issues for Northwestern Africa in the decades to come, but something that scientists hopefully will address, and we'll figure it out. But there has to be a delicate balance. Whenever we mess with the ecosystem, this is what happens. So as you know better than anyone, being a scientist of nature, this is what happens. So. All right, my friend, we will definitely check back. We could do a whole show on that, I'm sure, easily.
Uh-huh.
Bring somebody on the ecosystems and how we have to be very careful about that. So it is 8:06 right now, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. And for those who, well, first of all, let's talk traffic. We could tell you about what we have right now. We have a bunch of things right now. Let's take a look at the vehicle fire. This is the New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway northbound by interchange 13A near Newark Airport. You don't see the fire, but just you see where the vehicles are on the right. They are literally driving into the area where the vehicle fire was reported. So that's likely to cause a backup in the next half hour or so. So just be aware. Again, the New Jersey Turnpike, and that is by 13A, by Newark Liberty Airport exit. We also have a crash with injuries, 287 northbound, north of exit 21, which is I-78 in Bedminster. The left lane is closed. We have a crash with injuries, 287 northbound, north of exit 21, 78. We just mentioned that, excuse me. We have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike, I-95 local lanes, southbound, north of exit 69, which is I-80 in Teaneck. This is actually the opposite camera shot that we normally show you when we show you the approach to the GWV. It's going in the opposite direction. So these are the people coming from Manhattan into New Jersey. And right now to report there, the local lanes southbound in Teaneck, all lanes are open, but there are vehicles on the right shoulder. And that sometimes causes some delays making the way through there. We have an overturned tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur, northbound north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark with the right shoulder block. And we have a silver alert to report. We've been talking about this all morning. This is on Route 9 by Sunrise Boulevard in Lacey Township. All lanes are open, but there is a disoriented person missing, and that person has Alzheimer's, 71 degrees, wearing a black puffy coat. So if you were in Lacey Township in that vicinity, Route 9 by Sunrise Boulevard, this is somebody's parent. This is a 71-year-old person with Alzheimer's. Please, take a moment, call work and say, I'm going to be a few minutes late. I have my eye on this person. Call police. Don't approach them because it might scare them. We don't want to do that. But kind of keep an eye on them, call police, and direct them to this individual. This is in Lacey Township, Route 9 by Sunrise, a person with Alzheimer's who is 71. 8:08 is our time right now, and we have, of course, more news to tell you about. If you heard earlier, we talked about a New Jersey man who has been missing for over a week at the Grand Canyon. His name is Thomas Daniel Gibbs. He's 35 and he's from Freehold. And last we heard from him was July 22nd, while officials over the weekend found his Tesla Cybertruck at what's called Grandview Point. That's an area near the Grand Canyon. That's where a lot of people stop and look at the big views. They found his truck there. Gibbs is 6'1". He has brown hair and eyes. They think he may have gone hiking on his own at the Grandview Trail down into the canyon. Park rangers, though, have not found him. They're using drones and search dogs to scour the area. The Trump administration has released $158 million in education funds after a lawsuit led by New Jersey and two dozen other states. The funds, part of a $6 billion national release, support English language programs, teacher development, and after-school initiatives. New Jersey officials, including Governor Murphy and Attorney General Matt Platkin, criticized the delay, calling it illegal and harmful to students. Platkin has repeatedly challenged the administration in court, and he hailed the release as a victory for New Jersey's schools. 8:10 right now. New Jersey added nearly 11,000 voters to its rolls in July, with most registering as unaffiliated, that according to state data. The GOP gained 1,651 voters. The Democrats lost 2,401. So the split gave basically a 4,000 vote advantage to Republicans because Democrats went down as Republicans went up. And that keeps happening. The exception was last month. Other than that, every month for about 2 years now, Republicans keep gaining and Democrats keep losing. People literally drop their registration with the Democrats and either become Republicans or independents. That is a significant thing. Now, the shift again narrows the Democratic lead over Republicans to 869,000. Still a huge number, but it used to be like 2 million. So it keeps heading in the direction of the Republicans. We'll see what happens in the next few years. Key competitive districts, including the 7th Congressional, saw significant unaffiliated voter spikes. If you were paying attention over the weekend, if you are Catholic, if you are Christian, if you are religious in any way, you may have checked this out. It was on EWTN and it was on YouTube. Millions of people look at this. This is hard to fathom that in this era this would happen, but it did. This is in Rome and on the outskirts of Rome. 1.2 million youths alone descended on Rome and Rome's outskirts. There were Catholic youths. There was a closing mass there after a week-long encounter with the next generation of faithful. And the Pope says they are a sign that a different world is possible where conflicts can be resolved with dialogue, not weapons. There were so many young people, they could not get hotels or whatever. They all jammed onto the grounds and stayed in tents. You could talk to me, Penn, if you need to. I could hear Penn trying to talk to me. So this was all on the religious grounds around the Vatican in Rome. Unbelievable that this happened. The Pope had to fly in, by the way, by helicopter because he could not drive in because the roads were so clogged. That's a good problem to have. If you are the Pope, you are very happy about that problem. May that problem always exist. You look at that. Humans as far as the eye can see. And these are Gen Y and Gen Z in many cases. Many people say a lot of negative things because a lot of like the Gen Zers, they came up through the pandemic. They don't have many social skills. They got a lot of soul though, don't they? They got a lot of heart and they're very religious. I was moved to tears over the weekend watching some of this video of these young people who in many cases, they probably spent half their life savings to get to Rome. I mean, it's one thing for an American kid who worked hard for the summer to save the money. It's another thing for a kid from a third world country whose family probably makes $5,000 to $10,000 a year, to then have that money to get to Rome so that they could pray together with millions of their fellow youths and ask God forgiveness and to be part of God's universe. Quite an emotional thing to see. And having been a Roman Catholic priest, it touches my heart in a very special way to see that that's happening. And God bless all our priests and our bishops and our deacons. And no matter what denomination and what religion, it does not matter. You're bringing people to God. That is a very good thing for this entire earth. And I'm very happy to call you my friend. And even if you're not bringing people to God, just trying to bring people into the moral fold, you're still my friend. I just hope and pray for you that you sort of make this a religious moment, but that you find God like those people did. Look at that. Just a wonderful thing. Millions of people getting together just for good reasons. That is a very good thing. So they all go home today. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at the Fiumicino airport in Rome. But this year, Rome is expected to draw 32 million people to the Vatican for the centuries-old pilgrimage that is called every few years by the Pope. The next one is scheduled August 3rd, 2027, and it's going to be in beautiful Seoul, South Korea. And they're expecting millions there because Asia is the epicenter for rapid growth in Christianity, especially South Korea. It's just all branches of Christianity seem to be growing in South Korea right now. So that is a very big cause and very, very big thing. It is 8:14. When we come back, we have lots more. So listen, in fact, we have a very special interview for you when we come back. It's a powerful tribute to a baseball legend here in New Jersey. We have an amazing artist you need to check out. He is a cultural storyteller, and he honors the historic baseball legend Larry Doby. So that is when we come back, and it's right in Montclair, in northern New Jersey. We want to tell you all about that. You're watching on ONNJ Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Monday. It is 8:15, sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, I just want to correct the record as we're coming back. I was talking about our Larry Doby, the great, the iconic baseball player,
Okay.
and I was talking about our artist Sidney Smith Jordan, and I think I mixed my pronouns. So I want to make sure. The baseball player is a he and Sydney is a she, but we're going to talk to Sydney in just a couple of moments. But I just want to make sure, because I think I blurted off so quickly without enough coffee. I wanted to make sure we don't mix anybody up. So we'll be doing that interview in just a moment. But in the meantime, we have a very fresh morning, 59 degrees.
It is refreshing. It is feeling very pleasant. I wouldn't necessarily call it like fall dry, not the crisp autumnal feel, but certainly halfway there. And we'll take it, especially on a Monday, just getting halfway there. It's like 100%. With temperatures climbing into the low 80s this afternoon, it'll feel lovely at the beaches, nice and dry and sunny. A little bit warmer back off to the west of the Parkway, could get to 80 right up in New Brunswick, or 90 rather, again, halfway there. Bon Jovi sang it correctly. With all of the temperatures that will climb into the upper 70s through this afternoon, we have a little bit more heat and humidity working back in for tomorrow, specifically with that wind switching direction. So there's some clouds and showers out to our west, which ultimately make it to us, the clouds tomorrow, and then the rain by Wednesday. So we have another day of dry weather, lovely sun this afternoon. In fact, the UV is still very high. It's up in an 8, which no more 9s or 10s for the summer. We're done with those. Now that we head just 6 weeks away from fall beginning, we'll start to see that number drop as we're, just 6 weeks away. We're actually halfway through summer, if you think about it. It'll feel nice and dry through this afternoon, going into the end of the day with those forecast dew points to remain comfortably low in the 50s and low 60s in through tomorrow. I think Wednesday starts to see a little bit more humidity in. You can see that green creep up the state from the south and to the north. And then we're back to dry weather by Friday, comfortable as well to start off the weekend, dry all around. Look at that, nothing but sunshine across New Jersey throughout our Saturday. And then Sunday could have some clouds return with maybe some showers by the end of the day. The new weather model updated. Took out the showers on Sunday, so looking good even through the weekend. See, nature got the note without me having to send the forward text. So that's some good news. Even by Tuesday, I think we could see some rain by the middle of next week. So we're looking good this weekend with a less humid and dry feel. Temperatures warming into the 80s. It must be the the threatening nature, Ken, because we're so bold here on ONNJ Mornings. Nature's like, all right, I'll give him the sun. Jeez, don't come out with the bat.
When I think Mike Favetta, that's the first thing I think of is threatening nature.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, it's the.
I know. I mean, my father's name is Dino, right? So when you take Dino, you take Antonino, my son's name. It's it's all in the family, really.
Rocco, sick Rocco on everybody. That's it. That's all you got to do is put Rocco the killer dog right out.
He'll lick you to death. That's the problem.
He'll kill a bowl of dog food in 5 seconds straight. All right, my friend, you are awesome. Good deal on Sunday. We see all you have to do is put it out in the universe and it gets done, because you are meteorologist Mike Favetta. We appreciate you as always. We'll check back It is now up to 64 degrees in Trenton. It kind of hovered at 59 all morning long, but now we're up to 64. That's a good thing. Something that's not a good thing. This is I-287 by I-78, or is it? I'm sorry, it's 78 by 287. I got it backwards. And you can see this crash here that's being tended to. This has been this way all morning long, and it is an absolute nightmare. This is Bedminster Township. All lanes are closed. So this is again by exit 21, I-78, 287 north. So it is actually here. I got it backwards. It is 287 northbound by exit 21, which is I-78 in Bedminster Township. Again, all lanes are closed while they work on this crash. Obviously, if there are that many vehicles there, a very serious crash involving an investigation, and they had an ambulance there earlier, so that is not a good sign, and we just pray for the people involved in that. But that is an area to be avoided, 287 by exit 21. We also have a crash on the Turnpike I-95 local lane southbound north of exit 69, which is I-80 in Teaneck. All lanes are open, vehicles are off to the shoulder, but it's causing rubberneckings. The Hudson River crossings today are extraordinarily light. That is strange. I think a lot of people are either taking a long weekend or mass transit, likely long weekend, because we only have 5 to 10 at the Holland, 10 at the Lincoln. And if we look at the upper and lower level approaches to the GWB, pretty wide open. That's only about a 10 to 15 minute crossover, we're told. So once you pass that wide open point, the car's coming towards you. That's when you hit a little bit of a brake check at the tolls. But 10 minutes for the GWB on a Monday morning, I'll take it anytime. 8:21 is our time. A powerful tribute to a baseball legend right here in New Jersey. Artist and cultural storyteller Sidney Smith Jordan has created a striking portrait for Montclair's Brewery limited edition Doby Major League's Caramel Pale Ale, honoring Larry Doby, the second Black player to break Major League Baseball's color barrier and a longtime Montclair resident. The can launched last Friday at Montclair Brewery's tap room with Doby's family in attendance. Sidney joins us now to share the story behind her artwork and this meaningful collaboration. Welcome, Sidney. Good morning. And I'm sorry for my lack of coffee and quick throwing around of the promo. I wanted to promote, and I'm like, Pam, our director, said, you just referred to Sidney as a he. I was like, I know, I was talking about the baseball player, Larry Doby. You know, you called Sidney a he. So my apologies to you off the top, but it's such an honor to have you on today. So good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
You bet. Now, your artwork on the Doby Major League's Caramel Pale Ale captures the spirit of Larry Doby's legacy. And that's the amazing thing. So many times through history, and there it is, the can on the screen, how beautiful. So many times in history, one person gets all the recognition, the first person. And then another person who could have all the greatness and the gravitas right behind that person, many times in history disappears. So I'm so glad Larry Doby is getting some recognition here. He's a Montclair resident and broke the color barrier and just was such an inspiration for so many. What was your creative process when you created this portrait of Larry Doby?
Wow. So the first thing that I did was really like research Larry Doby and find out who he is and what people said about him. And I'm a face person. I enjoy faces, so researching the different looks and imagining what he would have been like after winning his biggest game, was the inspiration behind it, and catching kind of his spirit, if you will.
hmm And he broke, the color barrier right after Jackie Robinson did in 1947. This was still a period when much of America had segregated water fountains, segregated bathrooms, segregated hotels. So that was a big deal. And if you think about it, the the move of him breaking the color barrier certainly helped move civil rights forward throughout the United States because it opened up a dialogue that likely led to the civil rights movement in the 60s. Uh, because people who are white and complacent in suburbia and different states, it's out of sight, out of mind for them. But Dobie literally forced the discussion. How did you aim to reflect his strength and his dignity and what he represented in this piece?
Well, for me, like, first of all, just the look on his face, smiling against, all the adversity. He he seemed like a really, just talking to his family, he did exude that in his real life. Like through adversity, he still smiled, he still met the challenges, showed up, played the game, had fun with it. And that's really what I wanted to show, is that, I mean, in real life, it's not always all bad. You know, you show up, you have a good character about yourself, you play the game. And I really feel like Larry Doby really did that, and I wanted to capture that.
I was reading that his teammates loved him, that he was very popular among his teammates, and that goes a long way. Obviously, when it says so much about his character that in the face of adversity, in the face of yeah, when you're on the road with your fellow teammates and they could stay in one hotel and you're forced to stay in a different one, you know, I mean, in spite of that, to still be a great talent and still play at the top of your game so much that you break records and you go down in history says so much about his character as an individual. And I don't know how religious a person he was, but we were talking religion a little while ago on the show. So I'm a very religious person, and my bet is to have that kind of strength. He likely had his faith. I'm just guessing. I'm imposing that on him. I'm betting that he did though. And your vibrant pop fusion style is instantly recognizable. Your work often celebrates African American history and culture. How did your personal journey as an artist and a cultural historian shape this particular project? You talk about being a face person, so that's such a cool thing.
Yeah, so first of all, the face, I use like muted tones because we know that it's Larry Doby, but then the background for me, I wanted to celebrate life and death with him, because so that's what the blue and the orange is representative of, is sunrise and sunset, but also to pull you into the fact that he was number 14, you know he's, I mean, in the abstract is just like, I just wanted to drop him there, like use his face. He's got, like, for me, the emotion, and then the color just wows you, and you cannot ignore his face with those bold colors like that. I feel like it was a home run. It's definitely a home run.
Nicely and nice use of words. You recently launched
Oh.
Legacy Link, which is 32-foot mobile art studio, bringing workshops to communities all over New Jersey for people to see, bringing art to the people. Can you tell us more about the initiative? How does it tie into your mission to use art more for healing and connection?
So the Legacy Link is a 32-foot RV that has been converted into a mobile art unit. And my primary purpose is to serve youth and seniors, the ones who are often like forgotten, can't afford to like really like get out there like everyone else. So instead of them having to worry about where to go to find art, I'm bringing it to them. Growing up, myself, in kind of a somewhat uh, tumultuous background, art saved me so many times, and I would like to use it for healing for other people, because that's what it did for me, and not them so much having to worry about getting there. I'll get to you.
I love that. I love that. I mean, I'm thinking back to bookmobiles when I was a kid, and this is basically an artmobile to bring art
Yeah, it
and
is.
how, right? How many people who maybe would not be exposed to art like yours, who upon being exposed to it, that could alter the whole trajectory for their lives, or an older person who, as you mentioned, may not be able to get around much, having that moment of joy, that spark of joy and happiness in seeing that art when they otherwise maybe wouldn't be able to get out to it. It's such a beautiful thing. What a special gift. And Montclair Brewery is known for celebrating culture and history through their
Mhm.
brews. So what was it like collaborating with them? Was it easy to work with them to get Dobie's story to life in such a unique way?
Yes, Leo and Denise, the owners of Montclair Brewery, they are amazing people. And they always celebrate culture, and they uplift, everyone. And working with them was pretty easy. Denise came to me and she mentioned having this beer that was already done, but never having a label for it. And immediately I'm just like, well, if you'll have me, I want to do it. And I'm really honored that she allowed me to do this.
I love it. Well, the can launched on Friday, August 1st, this past Friday at Montclair Brewery's tap room. It'll be available at the Somerset Patriots tribute to the New York Black Yankees. And it must feel so good knowing your art is going to reach so many people through the beer. For those who want to see more of your work or attend the brewery, where can they find more about you and what's next for you and Legacy Link? What's your website?
The Legacy Link has its own website. It's thelegacylink.org. My website, where you can always find out my events, is smithjordanarts.com.
I love it. We are talking about Montclair Brewery's limited edition Dobie Major Leagues Caramel Pale Ale, honoring the great Larry Dobie. Artist and cultural storyteller Sydney Smith Jordan, we're blessed to have you in our neck of the woods. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us
you.
this morning. Come back again, please.
Thank you.
You bet. Have a great day. It is 8:30. When we come back, we'll talk AI with none other than brand and digital strategist Fisher. Sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s, a full Garden State forecast when we return, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
And a very good morning to you. 8:31, Monday, August 4th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are open at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of sunshine today, a little hazy, highs upper 80s. Right now, it is a comfy 64 in Trenton. And meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast. Good morning to you, Michele.
Good morning, Ken. About an hour ago, we were discussing latent heat and how it can help New Jersey feel a little bit drier on certain days, more humid on other days. So today's social post, if you go on Instagram and Facebook and check it out, New Jersey Sticky Secrets. A little engaging, kind of inspiring way to start the day. It'll make you click it. That AI, it really pays off when you give it a prompt and say, make me a viral post. And here you go. Hey, our forecast looking very pleasant today. Nice and dry through this afternoon. No stickiness around. It'll feel pleasant into tomorrow, but the clouds return, and then we're back to some rain for Wednesday. Light showers on and off. None of the intense flooding rains that some of the areas saw, just last week. Now, going into this afternoon, it'll stay nice and dry with the sunshine around. There's not a cloud on the satellite picture. So with that clear weather, making it a great beach day. Highs climb into the mid and low 80s from Manahawkin right down to Atlantic City and even Cape May. If you head further west of the Parkway, you could enjoy temperatures that warm into the mid and upper 80s, so a little bit more humid for you. As far as the air quality, we're back to the unhealthy for sensitive groups level. That's above 100. Anytime you get, into the 150s, it's even worse. But air quality a little bit better than yesterday, and a lot of that's still due to some of the wildfire smoke up in Canada, and there's even some big wildfires out west, even dotting some of these little red dots you see are the agricultural burns that the satellite picks up. But overall, zooming in with a high resolution smoke forecast. Here in New Jersey, most of it stays in the northern sections of the state, up toward northwestern Morris County, up toward Warren County and Sussex County, and even western Passaic. So as far as the weather is concerned, back closer to home, we are right on par with average. Average high is 86 degrees. We get to 85. We'll take it, especially with the clear sky throughout this afternoon, making it beautiful toward the beaches. Water temperature already warming to 77 in Sandy Hook and 75 in Atlantic City. Excellent weather for the beaches today, but the surf is a little higher because of some of the tropical activity just offshore. A moderate risk of rip currents today, But as Tropical Storm Dexter is churning just a few hundred miles off our coast, it will throw back bigger waves into tomorrow and Wednesday. So I think that may go to a high risk by the middle of the week. Forecast temperature today in the upper 80s and low 90s. It'll feel warm, but not too hot, even as we head throughout this evening, staying quite comfortable with temperatures down the shore, getting into the upper 60s overnight. Tomorrow starts off a bit cloudy with some rain developing across southern New Jersey by tomorrow evening. And then some of those showers become more widespread into Wednesday, very spotty. Quite isolated, not a widespread heavy downpour. But then by the time we get to the middle of the week, you see there's Dexter spinning just offshore, throwing back the waves throughout the course of the day, tomorrow and Wednesday. The clouds take over. You see some showers work their way in, and then ultimately it all passes through, giving way to some high pressure and sunshine that's back by Thursday. So lovely weather shaping up for the end of the week into the weekend. And speaking of, the weekend looks gorgeous. 7-day forecast shows plenty of sun, especially for Thursday and Friday, highs in the low 80s. We're warming back through the upper 80s come Saturday and Sunday. And I think at the end of the 7-day, this could be where we start to see the signals of some hot weather return for next week, because I'll show you coming up with the 2-week forecast, the extended long-range climate outlook. The middle of the month is looking exceptionally warm. So enjoy the slightly cooler weather while we have it, especially with temperatures that will feel quite nice throughout the end of the week, and then warmer weather creeps back in throughout the weekend, even down the shore, Ken. It'll start to get hot. We're not done with summer just yet, even though the calendar, says that mid-August is around the corner and back to school sales are ongoing. We still have a lot more summer left.
Yeah, and there are pumpkin spice cookies in the supermarket right now already, I noticed. I thought that was kind of funny. It just keeps getting earlier. You're gonna have pumpkin spice in February pretty soon. It's creeping earlier and earlier.
But it's
But
just
just
so
to remind you,
weird to rack your. How does that happen in Publix, or like Winn-Dixie, right?
oh,
It's so
well,
hot.
down in Florida, all the fall and winter holidays are so artificial. It's like,
Mm,
when they do Christmas down here, we put the rings around the palm trees, but you just don't get the crisp fallness. You don't get that
right.
Christmassy feel here. It's just whatever. But I just here, if you want a summery feel, here's beach cam now that the sun is up. And you can look at the sun.
Ooh,
See that glow? It's going to move just a little
yeah.
bit in just a few minutes, but you see now the sun on the ocean. That's spectacular. As we look east, this is Fort Lauderdale Beach you're looking at, the northernmost tip of Fort Lauderdale Beach, and that beautiful shot of the Atlantic Ocean, nice and smooth. As we This is just to kind of set your morning in the right direction. But we appreciate you, Mike, and we will check back with you in a little bit. 64 degrees up in Trenton right now, down here 83 and sticky, by the way. So even though that looks pretty, you do feel it. You do feel it. I actually, as much as I have the AC on right now, the humidity is so high. I'm 7 feet from the window, and air does creep in under the cracks and stuff, and you could feel the humidity right now. 8:37 is our time. We have a lot of traffic in New Jersey to talk about this morning. Let's take a look now. Pam, we're going to show the crash, right, which is over on I-287 northbound, northbound 21. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Let's do the overturned tractor trailer. That's on 1 and 9. Let's show the truck route here so you could see the traffic. As you see the traffic going east and west, the traffic that's going to the left, I'm sorry, traffic that's going to the right, rather. You could see the tractor trailer there that is stuck in the right lane. So that was an earlier accident, and that's being taken care of. Fortunately, right now, it doesn't look like we have much rubbernecking to report, but nonetheless, beware that that has been reported. That could build up as the morning goes on. We also have an overturned tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur, northbound, north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark with the right shoulder block. And a crash investigation. This has been big all morning. This is on 287 northbound, north of exit 21, I-78 Bedminster Township, with the 2 left lanes closed. This is very serious. This has been hours in the making. We've had emergency vehicles on the scene closing that down. It was entirely closed for much of the morning with an ambulance there, so that's usually not a good sign. So they had to do an investigation, which suggests that it was a very serious accident. Without predicting what it might be, I'm sure it's in the back of all your minds right now what that likely was. But very sad to see that early in the morning. We do have some good news that are report in terms of the Hudson River crossings. It's only 5 to 10 at the Holland. It's only 10 at the Lincoln and 10 at the GWB. Everything flowing in pretty well at this hour. 8:39. There we go. Look at that. GWB, the cars coming to us, upper and lower level, all moving at the speed limit. Rarely seen on a Monday morning. 8:39 right now, and it seems like all we keep hearing about is how AI keeps infiltrating our lives more and more, every aspect of our lives. Are we now going to see AI impacting airline ticket prices? And what does that look like? Would AI make creating our travel plans easier or harder? To talk about this now is brand and digital strategist Fisher, who can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with the username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Good morning to you, Fisher. And some major
Good morning.
airlines have spoken about possibly working with AI pricing companies to set ticket prices. Why and what's that about? Good morning.
Well, there was a hubbub about 10 days ago where news came out that Delta Airlines was going to use AI to set personalized ticket pricing. Now, how that in theory would work would be they know that I really like Vegas, or they know that you really like Florida. And so every time you go to book a flight to one of those places, that fare might be higher than somebody you might even be traveling with that doesn't frequently fly, right? Well, again, the hubbub was about 10 days ago. Delta Airlines has confirmed it will not use AI to set personalized ticket prices. The news follows criticism from lawmakers, of course, and the public.
All right, so we will come back. We have Fisher, who's, I'm sure, going to reestablish the signal. We're doing this all remotely, obviously. So we'll hope that Fisher reestablishes. Just so to kind of recap, because he and I did discuss this a little bit. It is a clever how AI works. So the way that AI seems to be working with these companies is they will determine your patterns, because every time you go to a website, you leave a cookie. Or a cookie is left, I should say, in your computer. Fisher could explain that better than me. And so you go to a travel website and it will detect all these cookies that you did searches for, say, to go to Fort Lauderdale or to go to Hawaii or wherever. And so it'll see all these different cookies. And then what it'll do is, instead of just directing you to something you want to look for right now, it will instead direct you to a quote unquote price deal towards something you have searched before. So let's go back to Fisher now. He is reestablished with us right now. So you were talking about how there was a big hubbub because Delta was talking. Initially, there was rumor that they
Yep.
wanted to use AI pricing, but then they said no, they weren't going to do it. But talk more about that.
Correct. Right. So they use normal dynamic pricing, right? So they know that people don't want to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma on the weekend. So the prices are much lower. But Monday through Friday, typically people go there for business. Now, Delta isn't using AI for ticket pricing, but they are partnering with Fetcher to deploy AI.
All right, we're having some signal problems. We'll get back to Fisher in a little bit. And figure that out. But so there's this company called Fetcher. Again, fortunately, I did a little reading on this and talked with Fisher about this last night. There's a company called Fetcher that apparently does the AI. So they were going to determine the issues. In other words, in terms of what you are using to. I think, Pam, we have two people dialing in on the same, right? I think that's our issue this morning. All right, that's what's happening. We have the technology is still in its infancy, so we're working on this, folks. But apparently, what happened was this company called Fetcher. It promotes itself. It's an AI company that promotes itself with companies. So when you click onto a website to investigate something, Fetcher can look at all your cookies on your computer and determine exactly what it is that you're looking for, and it will try to redirect you to spend money, say, in a certain direction that you had no intention of spending money on. When all you want to do is get the price of a flight to, as he said, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Instead, it knows that you did a search for a flight to Spain that you may not do for 2 years with your family, but all of a sudden it's going to say there's a special when there really isn't, maybe, et cetera, et cetera. So it's interesting how that happens. We have Fisher back. So Fisher, we have about a minute left. Let's talk about how this will impact car rentals as well. And when we go to rent a car, if, say, we damage it and tried to get it fixed quietly without the rental company knowing about it, AI is going to rat us out, right?
Correct. So Hertz is already using it, and the car rental company Sixt is already as well. So when you return your car, Hertz in certain locations, not all of them at this point, it will pass a computer and camera imaging around the car to look for dents, scratches, wheel scuffs, things of that sort, and can also scan inside. So we're already seeing that in car rental situations. Now, hotel checkouts could also be an interesting place, right? Hotels are exploring AI for auditing to monitor guest activities. In fact, certain hotels already have AI-powered sensors that can detect smoking or vaping, triggering fines automatically to your bill. Now, there also has been some mix-ups where you get fined for smoking, but in reality, it was a hair dryer or it was an aerosol hairspray, things of that sort. So there's a lot to work out here, but AI is again coming into our lives right now, not AI pricing on airlines, according to Delta and American Airlines, but we are seeing it creep into our travel plans.
Yeah, little by little. And by the way, whenever you go to rent a car, make it your habit. Now that we all have a device, go around the car and take both videos and
Yep.
stills up close and far away. I take about 20 before, and I rent a car often when I come to Florida. And I'm in Florida at the moment. So when I rent, even if they check off a box or something on their little slip, sometimes they examine the car, you note it by taking a picture with your phone, because they could say, well, this was only a tiny scratch. Now I see a big dent. You
Yeah.
will have
And
a
it's in,
time stamp, date stamp.
I was just going to say, yep. Yep, it's time stamped
Uh,
and dated, and you can submit it and show when you check in, all of it. So, and a lot of us also can. I mean, you're probably like it. I, return the car and ditch. You just pull up, you get your bags out, and you're gone. And they normally scan and move forward. And so, it is important to have that proof that you didn't run into that building.
Right. Somebody could right after you leave, somebody could pull up behind you to bring back their car and
Mhm.
hit the back of the car you just left.
Mhm.
And now the company comes and says, what happened here? There's damage in the back of the car. And then you
Or
get dinged for
somebody that's processing your card could also do the same thing.
it. Absolutely. When they go to park it or wash it and blame you for it. So
Yep.
that's why this could be the only thing standing between you and thousands of dollars in damage that you'll have to pay. So, and it
Absolutely.
happened to me once, by the way, but this saved my butt. Not kidding. Thank you so much, Fisher. It is awesome to have you
Thanks,
on
Ken.
as always. Brand and digital strategist Fisher. He can be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Have a great day, sir. Pam,
You
let's
too. Take
forego
care.
the break time, and you bet, sir. Let's talk about a New Jersey hotspot in a moment that was just named one of New Jersey Monthly's top 40 restaurants in just a moment when we finish with our weather and traffic. In the meantime, mostly sunny today, a little bit hazy, highs upper 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta is back, and he's going to tell us for the final time this morning about that wonderful Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. For a little bit of tropical activity, which we'll get to, keeping the waves a little bit higher along the New Jersey beaches. An issue if you're headed down the shore tomorrow or even Wednesday, where temperatures will warm into the low 90s like they will today, but I think you'll have more sunshine this afternoon. Air quality poorer in the northeastern corner of the state, but I think ultimately climbing up to above 100 where it becomes unhealthy for sensitive groups, a lot of that due to the smoke particles in the air. There is Dexter spinning out to sea slowly, but it's that wave energy that's going to work its way back across New Jersey over the coming days, because the storm is not moving very quickly, only moving to the east-northeast at 12 miles per hour. Typically, when storms get this far north in terms of latitude, they tend to pick up a jet stream and move a little faster. Well, there is no steering current right now, so it's meandering and taking its time, and that's allowing for these waves here shown in green to come pretty close to New Jersey, forecast to be anywhere from 5 to 10 feet. Again, not on the coast, but just offshore, and a lot of that wave energy could promote some higher risk of rip currents through this week down at the beaches, and then we'll see that dissipate into the weekend. You see a lot of red here on this map. This is the 2-week temperature outlook showing that most of the Northeast, including New Jersey, will be much warmer than average. So we're looking at another heat wave in about a week or 10 days from now. And then as we head into the end of the month, slightly drier than average weather. 7-day forecast, plenty of sunshine this week. A few extra clouds and showers maybe midweek, but it dries out yet again with lower humidity, highs in the low 80s come Friday into Saturday, and then the warming trend starts once the weekend begins to wrap up. Shore points looking great this week. Again, just a higher risk of rip currents throughout the week, and then dry into this weekend. A beautiful summer-like feel to enjoy without all of that sticky, hot weather, humidity. So very anti-Florida as we head into the rest of this week.
Yeah, in Florida, while the beginning of the summer, May and June, were actually a little cooler, slightly cooler, not very much, but slightly cooler, and certainly drier than
Yeah.
normal for that time. Mid-July to now has more than made up for it. It's sort of what was happening in the Northeast with the 90s, et cetera. So it was 94 yesterday. Yeah, it is. You'll say, Ken, it's August. We usually about 89 to 91 here. So even that extra 3 degrees, but the higher humidity is oppressive. And you could feel it. There wasn't much of a
Yep.
breeze. It was really oppressive. So Florida's getting it right now. And this is the 6 week stretch that everyone says, how could you deal with Florida in the summer? It's horrible. In spite of the fact that we've had like 4 heat waves in New Jersey, hotter
Uh-huh.
than
That's
Florida this
true.
year.
That's true.
I'm just saying. I feel like I should be working for the Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. Maybe I'll
That's
ask.
right.
All right, my friend, have a wonderful day. We'll check back with you tomorrow morning. Enjoy the day
See you then.
nonetheless. And we appreciate you as always, you bet. It is currently 64 degrees at 8:50, and we are shining a spotlight on a culinary gem right here in the Garden State. Summit House, located at 395 Springfield Avenue in the heart of downtown Summit, has just been named one of New Jersey Monthly's top 40 restaurants. Known for its elegant seasonal menu, stunning raw bar, and award-winning cocktails, Summit House is redefining modern American dining with a focus on hospitality and community. We're joined by owner Dylan Baker to tell us what makes this spot so special. Good morning, Dylan. Thanks for coming to the show.
Morning, Ken. Glad to be here. Thanks.
You bet.
I
Anytime.
can confirm with Mike, it is beautiful here in New Jersey this morning. Just perfect weather. We've earned
I
it.
see 64 degrees, 64 degrees. That's always fresh and nice and dry, no humidity. I, of course, picked the one time to come to South Florida. I'm in Fort Lauderdale on the beach here where it's extremely hot and humid. But I'll be back up in a couple of days, so I'll enjoy the cool weather or cooler weather then. But congratulations on Summit House being named one of New Jersey Monthly's top 40 restaurants. That is a big deal because New Jersey has a ton of eateries. What does a recognition mean for you and your team to have people in the biz saying, "Hey, this place is really good"?
Well, thanks, Ken. It means a lot to us. You know, we've worked very hard over the last 8 years to really make Summit House a destination in the Garden State for our culinary achievements, our cocktail program, our great wine list. Um, and to have New Jersey Monthly recognize us after 8 years really does mean a lot. There's not a lot of established restaurants, I believe, coming on to that list. It's usually someone who's opened in the last few years. They have making their name, but for an established restaurant to come on, I think is fairly rare.
Yeah, it shows that you've really stepped up the game and kept it fresh because once it's so common, I guess, because when you have a restaurant that people frequent for a while and it's really all the rage for 6 months, a year, 2 years. In the beginning, you can't get a reservation. Then, oh, you can get a
Sure.
reservation for next week. And then it becomes what happened to the place and it closes down. Um, and that is the case, right? Because people get fickle. You get people who move in and out of neighborhoods. So in 10 years, you
It's
get a
true.
whole different population and they may want something totally different. So it is good to see this happening for you guys. And you
Thank
like
you.
to say that you celebrate the rich edible bounty of the Garden State. And by the way, I speak about this because my family was in the business and I know how hard it is to, first of all, it's 20 hours a day of work and it's your heart and soul. Share how you and executive chef AJ Capella incorporate local seasonal ingredients into the menu and make it specifically New Jersey.
So we are very we take the hard road, Ken. We recreate our menu 4 times a year. So every time we have a change of season, within a few days or so of the solstice, we're looking to put a new menu up. That's not only all of the appetizers, entrees, desserts, but also our cocktail menu is also very seasonally driven. So we really recreate the menu and the restaurant 4 times a year. And that is what keeps it fresh. That is what keeps people coming back and able to try a different restaurant each time, discovering new things on the menu, new creative dishes that the chef has been inspired by the season, by the change of produce available to him. A lot of the items will stay with a similar feature, like say featuring our Barnegat Bay scallops. These are scallops coming off the coast of Barnegat and into Viking Village. Every day we feature those on the menu, but in the summer we're going to feature things like squash and corn, um, fresh tomatoes, of course. And in the winter, those items go away. They're not at their best, so of course they're going to come off. But we may feature the scallop in a different setup. So people will always find a little something that they find familiar, but really the freshest possible setup on their plate for it to represent the season. And again, the
Which
same
is
at
very much,
our cocktail bar.
I was going to say, this is very much how it's done in Europe, right? You go to Italy,
Very
they
much.
don't take stuff in the deep freeze. I remember I've been to so many restaurants in Italy, and I've asked. I have a relative who owns a hotel and a restaurant in Cattolica in the northeastern Emilia Romagna, and I remember making the mistake of asking, "Oh, this fish is so good. How many days old is this?" And he was insulted. Days. We got it about 4 hours ago. He literally was insulted. Like we don't store fish here. It comes that morning, we serve it.
Of
Whatever is
course.
caught is what we serve. And it was so he couldn't understand the fact that what do you people freeze fish and nasty. So I love the fact that you are doing it the way they do it, and that's what makes a great restaurant. You have a dish that
Thank
I
you.
love. It's maccheroni, which is the way it's spelled and pronounced in Italy, Maccheroni. Macaroni is macaroni and cheese when it spells Maca. You have homemade bolognese. Now, when you make house-made bolognese, I know that in Italy, bolognese is different than here. So talk about your bolognese. Is it American, what we view as bolognese, or in Bologna, I ordered bolognese once and got seafood on my pasta.
That
So
shouldn't happen,
it's really
especially in Emilia Romagna. So Chef AJ Capella, our amazing award-winning executive chef here at Summit House, this is a family recipe of his. We start with all of our pastas are homemade at Summit House. We make our pastas almost every day, and that provides a great base, our homemade macaroni. But the sauce itself is much more of a traditional something you would find in Bologna. It's not so tomato heavy. It's more based around the meats. There's I believe 3 different meats that are included in the bolognese. Uh, and it has become a crowd favorite. When I say the menu changes 4 times a year, there are certain things like the bolognese that do not rotate off. That has become a staple and something that people return for over and over again.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those who don't realize, tomatoes only made their way to Italy about 400 years ago, 350 years ago. Prior to that, it
True.
was mostly brown sauces and meats and things like that. So we think of Italy, we just associate it with the tomato, and too many Americans associate it with garlic too. They don't use anywhere nearly as much garlic in Italy as we tend to do
Mm.
here. But it's just awesome. I love and appreciate the fact that you try to keep it authentic and give people a taste of contemporary, real Italian cooking from Italy. You have pici with cockles and Calabrian chili. Calabrian chilies are all the rage too. Talk about that dish. We have about a minute left.
So again, seasonal rotations happening. The pasta, homemade, cockles are great in the springtime. That menu is actually, I believe that you're not going to find that on our menu right now, Ken. I hate to tell you, but it's always
Oh,
going to be. I believe the cockles have come off, and we do try and always do a seafood pasta, so is replaced right now. And come on down and give the new menu a shot, Ken. When are you back from
all right,
Florida?
Dylan, I got to cut you off because we're literally at the end of the show, but I am going to come. Dylan Baker, owner of Summit House in Summit. Congratulations on the achievement. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thanks for watching ONNJ Mornings. I'll see you again tomorrow morning.